You selected a pump for 100 cubic meters per hour at 50 meters head, but after installation, it delivers only 70. The pump is correct. The datasheet is correct. So what went wrong? The answer is simple. You didn't understand where the pump actually operates. In this video, I will explain the most important concept in pump engineering, the operating point. Slide 1, the real problem. In real projects, pumps do not operate at their rated datasheet point. They operate at the point where the pump curve meets the system curve. If you do not understand this concept, you will face issues like low flow, high vibration, and motor trips. This topic is one of the most important for both field troubleshooting and technical interviews. Slide 2, pump curve. Every centrifugal pump has a performance curve called the HQ curve. This curve shows how the head decreases as the flow increases. At zero flow, the pump produces maximum head, known as shutoff head. At maximum flow, the head is minimum, which is called the runout condition. Between these points lies the best efficiency point, or BEP, where the pump operates most efficiently. Slide 3, system curve. The system curve represents the requirement of the piping system. It includes static head, which remains constant, and friction losses, which increase with flow. As flow increases, friction losses increase rapidly, making the system curve typically parabolic. This curve defines what the system needs from the pump. Slide 4, operating point. The operating point is where the pump curve intersects the system curve. This is the actual working point of the pump. No matter what the datasheet says, the pump will always operate at this intersection. This is the most important concept you must understand. Slide 5, why flow changes. If system resistance increases due to fouling, valve closure, or higher pressure, the system curve shifts upward. This moves the operating point to the left, reducing flow. If system resistance decreases, the system curve shifts downward, and the operating point moves to the right, increasing flow. This explains why actual flow changes in real systems. Slide 6, matching with B. During pump selection, the goal is to ensure that the operating point is close to the best efficiency point. Operating near beep gives maximum efficiency, minimum vibration, and longer equipment life. If the pump operates too far from beep, it leads to energy loss, vibration, and premature failure. Slide 7, power requirement. Pump power depends on flow, head, density, gravity, and efficiency. The basic formula shows that power increases with both flow and head. If efficiency decreases, the required input power increases. That is why proper motor sizing is critical. Slide 8, motor sizing. If the motor is undersized, it will trip during high flow or runout conditions. If the motor is oversized, it increases cost and operates inefficiently. So motor selection must consider the full operating range, not just the design point. Slide 9, efficiency impact. Efficiency varies across the pump curve. At BEP, efficiency is maximum. At low flow, internal recirculation causes vibration and damage. At high flow, instability and overload conditions occur. Operating away from B increases energy cost and reduces equipment life. Slide 10, selection workflow. A proper pump selection starts with defining the system curve. Then you select a pump curve that intersects near B. After that, you verify power requirements and motor sizing. Finally, you check NPSH to avoid cavitation. This step-by-step process ensures correct selection. Slide 11, common mistakes. Many engineers select pumps based only on the duty point. They ignore system curve variation, operate far from BEP, and do not provide minimum flow protection. They also forget to consider viscosity effects. These mistakes lead to performance issues in the field. Slide 12, real case. In one real case, a pump was selected correctly on paper, but the actual system had higher resistance than expected. This shifted the operating point, increased flow and power demand, and caused motor trips. The issue was not the pump, it was incorrect system understanding. Slide 13, control methods. To control flow, you can use throttling valves, variable speed drives, or bypass lines. Throttling is simple but wastes energy. Variable speed drives are the most efficient method because they adjust the pump curve itself. Bypass lines are used only for minimum flow protection. Slide 14, final takeaway. Remember this key principle. A pump does not deliver what it is rated for. It delivers what the system demands. If you understand this concept, you can correctly select pumps, troubleshoot problems, and perform confidently in interviews. If you want to become a strong engineer, you must understand system behavior, not just equipment design. Like this video, subscribe for deep engineering knowledge, and comment HQ if you want more pump case studies. See you in the next video.